Wildly Wealthy Witches, Part 2. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So this training, Part 2 of the 3-part series in the free Wildly Wealthy Witches series. Bit excited about it. I'm a bit excited about it. So this one is quite a deepish training. Really getting into a training with this too. Some of it you might know, some of it you might have heard me talk about before, some of it you might be hearing other manifestation teachers talk about. But it's really important what I felt called to share and what was channeling through when I was putting it all together. And I just forgot to get the paper, so just bear with me. Because I've gone through that much paper and I didn't think to get this organised, did I? See how you just like start and then figure it out later? For those of you who are like, it needs to be perfect. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. You just need to get up and do it. So let me just put some paper in here because I'm going to need this for this one. And I forgot. I was organised. Bear with me. Because, you know, I like my drawings. Okay. So, if you haven't seen part 1, comment part 1 below and I'll send it to you. So, in this Wildly Wealthy Witches, like I've got notes here, so bear with me while I'm making sure I cover everything. Like I want the specific things I want to cover here with you. So, the thing about being a wildly wealthy witch is it's a lifestyle and it's a way that we live. It's a mindset, it's an energy, it's also who you innately are. And or who you innately were before the world shut you down. Right? Your life should be a walking manifestation magical ceremony. If it is not, there is just healing to do. That's all. Now, I'm all for like quantum shifts. Imagine it's not there. Actually, I'm not, because that's a sure way that it's just going to halt everything, right? It's going to halt everything. So, okay. Like, you are a walking miracle of magic. A magical miracle witch manifests her pure intentions into reality. She wields her power. She holds her ground. She knows who she is, and she moves mountains by holding the mastery of her energy, her mind, her body, her soul, her spirit that's in alignment with her true purpose and her soul's vision, which also known as your heart. She doesn't let the world bring her down, but she knows that when she does, she's purging out the old vibrations because she's been embodying and holding a higher vibration for a long time, and it's now time to step into that. And that's why we purge out. That's why we get sick. So the thing about being a wildly wealthy witch is there's many ways that you can be wildly wealthy, okay? And like there's so many business opportunities out there. There's so many ways that you could be wealthy. And I want to say you should have multiple streams of income. Like any wealthy person will tell you it's multiple streams of income, okay? Now in the beginning, you might be like solely focused on like building one thing and getting your grounding in it, which is definitely what I've done over the years to really build reality awareness and my vision and where I'm going with this, right? So, like the way to start turning your passion into profit and also flicking the abundance switch on, flicking on the connection piece and linking up abundance with what you love doing, right? And abundance is a frequency. Abundance is a mindset. Like I said, being wealthy, being a witch is a way of being. It's an energy you hold. It's a state of being. It's a mindset. It's a lifestyle, right? And to connect money with wealth and abundance and love and joy, because most of us are programmed that money is bad and evil and all the generational stuff that we're carrying, let alone society's programming and you've got to work hard for money. Like, no, that's what we're stepping out of in being a wildly wealthy witch, in knowing that we wield our reality into existence. But to do that, we need to hold a certain frequency. We need to be a certain person. We need to think a certain way. This is who we are, right? And so in this state of being, right, if you're so far from feeling that, it's very much around like you've just got emotions to purge. You've just got stuff that's surfacing. You just need to heal. And when you, as you guys know, like when I talk about you start stepping onto a healing journey to change your life, like that first 3 years will be hell, right? Of all the emotions, of all the baggage, of all the stuff that you've gone through, of all the things, like it doesn't feel nice, like at all, right? It doesn't feel nice at all. So I'm just going to bring up the comments here. Hi guys. Hi. So, you know, it doesn't feel nice at all when we start this journey, but a wildly wealthy witch knows that this is part of the journey to being a high vibration and being able to hold a higher quotient of light, because that's a higher vibration than a stuck emotional trauma wound from childhood or past life or previous relationship that's sitting in your field, right? And so a wildly wealthy witch manifests the dark and the light and magically transforms the light and the dark, because she knows that this is the work that's consistent with where her heart is calling her to be. Nobody ever got to where they are by not facing, right? Any successful person got to where they are without looking at their past history, their patterns, behaviors, traumas. Nobody didn't get there without that, right? So how to start? So number sort of 1 in this little like training today, there's a few different factors and sections that I'm going to cover. So the first one is how to, like I said, link up your passion. So I'm just going to use psychic readings as an example, okay? You can use anything, right? I love doing psychic readings. It's easy for me, all those things. So how we start linking this up together is really like I want to say little steps. Meaning, when you start charging for your services, right? If you start charging for a psychic reading, maybe it's $20, $30, $40, $50, right? When you start doing that, you're creating a connection between abundance and wealth and joy and love. Why? Because you love what you're doing. So you immediately start unplugging from the work hard societal, you know, training, generational train, like I've got to work hard and do all this stuff to receive this little bit of money. Whereas you're like unplugging from that and you're plugging into a frequency where you can do what you love and receive income. You can do what you love and get paid for it. You're making a connection of a higher vibration by doing what you love and getting paid for it. You don't have to charge like huge prices in the beginning. Like, I mean, what's huge really? But you know, like what's huge to you? But it's like even just the little things, you're creating an energetic connection between what you love and wealth. Between receiving income by doing what you love. It's a completely different vibration to what society's been trained in and what you've maybe grown up in, right? So those little things is like starting to connect your beautiful life purpose with abundance. Yeah, that's number 1. To succeed in anything, you have to love what you do. You have to love what you do. Sure, there's wealthy billionaires on the planet that are probably not happy, right? But what's the definition of success? Is that successful if they've got the wealth but they don't have the joy? Like, people would probably think they're quite poor, right? Most people. So it's like when you love what you do, you're naturally successful in it, because again, it's this higher vibrational connection point. Yeah? So these connection points are important when we are, I want to say, growing in our purpose and growing in our life, right? So, okay. If you don't feel magic, like I said, you have unprocessed emotions, you haven't dealt with them, you haven't purged them, you haven't healed them, and or there's another layer of them coming out, okay? So when we look at, you know, the thing is that we can have an awakening, and I'm just going to draw this little diagram here. So we can have a spiritual awakening. I'm just going to draw a person. Hello. Here's your person with aura. And these are like childhood woundings, these little black stars, but they're just little like holes or bits. They're called imprints, trauma woundings, things might be stuck in your body, whatever, right? Abuse, trauma, childhood wounding, abandonment, past life, interdimensional, we're just carrying it over. These things I look at in our aura, in our body, in our soul, in our psyche as like bricks. Yeah, they're literally like bricks. Oh, I didn't turn the camera around again. Sorry, guys. They're like bricks, yeah? And they weigh us down. So when people are like, I don't know what my purpose is, I know there's something else, but I'm not clear on what that is. It's like, yeah, because there's all these trauma wounds stuck in the body here, and it clouds your vision, right? So you know how if you watch the Important Collective Update, and I did a 3-part series with that, and I spoke about it's almost like a web. So, you know, when a person's got multiple of these in their body and aura, which, you know, every human does on the planet, we've all been through some sort of pain in our lifetime, right? They literally sort of link up, if you may, because it creates a certain vibration, it creates a certain web. And this is why, you know, two people can witness the same, you know, accident or situation and give a completely different perspective because they're viewing life through their sheath of perspective. It's kind of a psychogeometric pattern I've drawn. It's kind of interesting. So we're looking at life with this patterning. Does that make sense, right? It's like we've got this web that we're viewing life through. So that's why some people can have great success doing the same manifestation work and other people don't. Why? Because they're sort of stuck in this web of perception of what we're viewing reality is. What do they say? Change your mind and change your life, right? Because it does begin here, but we need to get down into the depths to be able to clear this out as well. So when we're looking at, you know, like these pieces, like, you know, these do start from an emotion, right? At some point in time, maybe when you were 2, mum walked around the kitchen bench and you couldn't see her and abandonment, like it kicks in. Like it's as simple as that, okay? And then what happens is as we go in and through life, it's like, because it creates a vibration, right, in your body, it attracts similar situations. So then you might lose a loved one, or you might, you know, and this is what I call the scar layers here, okay? But the core wounding is this original one here. Now, in Trust Your Intuition, my program, Trust Intuition, Become Certified Intuitive Healer, Life Purpose Mentor, this is what we clear. Like, you have the step-by-step tools to be able to clear this. And this is when I work with my clients. This is why I go straight to the core, because sure, you can deal with all these layers and sometimes they're important, but we get straight to the core first. We clear that out. So I just want to say we clear that out, right? And then these layers dissolve by themselves, but sometimes we need to do a bit more sort of clearing on that. Now, the thing is that when we have these certain traumas and vibrations sitting in our body, they're also constantly sending messages to our brain, right? Like I said, the way we perceive through this web, and then all these sort of like, you know, it's like a link, a cord, a link, an energetic connection, right? And so these little like beep, 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 like little receptor things, I've got the brain receptors, right? And that's why when we get triggered, right? When somebody triggers us, this is like, bah, 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 alert, alert, alert. And we're just going to like, fuck, what's happening? And that's why it's hard to come out of a trigger if you've got these sitting in there, and everyone gets triggered, right? But it's like, how do we clear these? Well, again, that's why I teach and Trust Intuition, because it's very deep work, what we're talking about here. I'm giving you like the art of manifestation in a way, right? Now, sure, there's definitely different ways to clear traumas and that sort of thing, but the point that I'm sharing all of this for is because you might have like done some affirmations in your past, you might have done some manifestation work in the past, you might have done some things, you're like, yeah, it works for a little bit, or it's great, and then it sort of just comes to a halt, or it doesn't seem to work anymore, or things get worse before they get better. Most of the time they get worse before they get better. They don't have to. That's also a belief system. But the reason that it happens like that is because when you're working on changing your mind, okay, and you're doing all the affirmations, positive affirmations, maybe you're doing some other personal development work, like, you know, when you're changing your mind, which is what we need to do, change your life, change your mind, change your mind, change your life, right? And you're filling your brain with all these new thought patterns, like I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I have a beautiful relationship, I love my life, I'm successful, I'm bringing in clients, I'm doing all the things. We should be doing this. This is essential. This is essential if you want to change your life, right? It's all the mindset work, right? However, when we do this, it fills our body with all these new patternings, right? All these new patternings and thought processes and beautiful, loving thoughts. But then what happens is your body's like, where's my alarm signal? Whoa, what's happening? Like, it's like the body's getting flooded with all this new, beautiful, positive energy and positive thoughts. And your brain, like your body's going, wow, this doesn't feel good. But because you're flooding your body with all these new positive thoughts, affirmations, angel frequencies, and all the beautiful healing work that you're doing, this simply can't stay in here anymore. And so it's coming up and out. Get me the fuck out of here. And this is where we feel emotions. This is where we feel pain. This is where we have all the memories surface from childhood or whatever's coming up, or we're processing all the shit, right? Because it's becoming conscious, because it's not sitting in the unconscious anymore. And this is why we do this work. This is what manifestation is. And this is why people get stuck, because they don't want to face this. They don't want to feel the feelings. It gets too, and so then they just disappear, right? It doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. So the thing is that I really wanted to share this with you, because all your, beautiful manifestation work is working, has always worked, is continuing to work, right? But when you are, sort of getting stuck on something, all it is another one of these little traumas surfacing, right? Now, you know how I just drew then, and I drew the little, can't really see it because of all the other drawings on here. Let me just draw another one of it. Important diagram alert. So, it's kind of weird I did it in a bit of a shape there, but maybe that's what it's meant to be. So you know how I said there's all these like little trauma woundings in somebody's aura in their body from when their mum abandoned them or something, like whatever happened, childhood, whatever, relationship break, whatever the story is, right? Car accident, whatever it is. So when we hold these trauma woundings here, it's like I said, it creates a web of what we perceive reality to be, right? And that's why, like I said, two people can look at the same event and give a completely different story, because they're looking at it from their own perception of reality, of energetics, of what they've grown up in, right? And so, like when we do this, and then when we continue to do this work, like I just mentioned, and then all this happens, right? It's like this wound will start surfacing, get me out of here, because the vibration's so different, and you're flooding my body with this vibration, and it's working, right? When it's working. But then all of a sudden, all of them might start to go at once, okay? And you have to remember that when one goes, it's going to change this perception of reality, right? The web of reality that you see reality as, and then this one will go, and then this will release, and then it's just like, whoa, like big shifts. Like it gets to a point where you're just like, whoa, everything is changed, because that veil has lifted, that web has lifted. This is so crucial, I want to say, to not stop doing the work at this time, right? Like, of course, we seem like we're pretty good at doing the work when things are bad. And then when it gets to like a releasing point, or a point where we're like, I want to say letting it all go, and we're, it's like we can feel that shift. It's like more than ever is the time to do your manifestation work, your affirmation work, your journaling work, like whatever like manifestation work you do. It's like you have a really clean slate once this lifts off. And even whilst it's lifting off, obviously we want to keep flooding our body with all those beautiful vibrations and positive thoughts and all the healing work we're doing, right? And then as this lifts off, it's like this beautiful clean slate, do the work even more. It's kind of like, because now you have a clean slate, so there's a couple of things you can just let it be, but you can also rewrite and reprogram the beliefs. And this is what's really important here, okay? And this is why, like, it's so important for all the work, you know, I always talk about, because, you know, it's all well and good to clear a trauma wound, okay, and leave a gap there, like you've cleared it. But if you're not changing your mind and doing the mindset work, this little cord that, you know, has been there your whole life has created a certain patterning and frequency in the way you think, right? And that's why journaling, mindset work is so important, you know, and they both work in tandem, and you should be doing both of them at the same time. Because if we're just clearing wounds but not changing our mind, this is just gonna, like, that cord's still there, or the connection's still there, and so there's still that sort of thought pattern sort of feeding it. I mean, what came first, the chicken or the egg? But it's like, do you see how important this is to be doing like the mindset work and the trauma clearing work? And the thing is that when I teach this in Trust Intuition, this is really where like you gain the tools and skills and knowledge so that you've got these tools for life. Because the thing is that life happens all the time. Stuff surfaces every time, no matter how successful you are, no matter what level you get to, no matter how long you've been doing this work before, there's always stuff there. Stuff always sits there, right? It's like really, like there's stuff at every level, right? There is literally stuff at every level. Okay. All right. What is the next piece here? Okay. And that's why, you know, like when we go through an awakening process and we start to realize we're the creators of our reality and we can create everything and do whatever we want, and you should, right? Because if you're not creating your reality, well, who is, right? You might as well take the reins and do that. You know, and there's a process, right? People have a spiritual awakening. They're like, oh, this is amazing. And then all like the beautiful light floods into their body. And then it starts to hit these things, and these things that were unconscious now become conscious, and they're feeling weird and maybe having anxiety or panic attacks, or like something's wrong with me. It's like, no, just like old emotions are surfacing and you need to feel them. That's all, you know. You know, and when we're like, oh, it's so amazing, and then all this stuff surfaces and we're like, whoa, like this is crap, not doing that shit anymore, like, do you know what I mean? But it's like, this is the part of the shift, right? And the old vibrations purging out of your body. So there's like a beautiful awakening stage, there's a healing phase, which is so messy and dark, and you know, and then there's a transformative stage where we're literally transforming our reality as we walk, as we speak, because we, you know, and the thing is that the more we get savvy at riding the waves and clearing out these traumas and clearing out these pieces, is that we learn to ride the waves, and the gap in between us, you know, having stuff surface gets longer and longer. And so we have longer and longer periods where it's not so, oh, what's happening? Where we've got longer periods of time where it is the joy, where it is the peace, where it is the healing, where it is like, let's create reality in amazing ways. Like, you know what I mean? Because the more you clear out, well, obviously the less there is. Sure, there's stuff at every level, but the gaps get longer. And once you've purged out, you know, the first major thing when you start this healing journey, like, you know, there's always stuff at every level, but it's not as full on, right? Because you're also training yourself and understanding how this healing and manifestation works, because it's hand in hand, right? We're spiritual beings and human, like at the same time. Like we can't separate that. If we do, we die, like, you know, but our soul still lives on. And it's like the manifestation of the soul and the human like feelings is like, you can't escape them. So it's like learning to ride the waves and understanding that when the soul steps in and goes, here, this is what we're doing, an expansion, the human self is like, I don't know about that, and it's like hanging on to reality, you know. And it's kind of like, when we know how to, like I said, like ride and heal these waves, we start to clear out. The more we clear out, the more our soul can anchor into our body and hold that higher frequency as normal, right? And that's why some people hold a really strong presence, a really strong energy. You can feel it as you walk past them, you know, or online or anything like that, right? It's just like you start to really also hone your own energy and understand how to hold that level of frequency that does shift people just by them reading your post or connecting, walking past them at the shop or something like that, right? So when we've cleared a big chunk of this out and we've found that stable ground and the web of what we saw reality has shifted, and we've really had this beautiful clean slate, you know, that we've been working on and manifesting and like, you know, coming into peace here, it's like, just drawing this beautiful space. it's like, you know, we've got this beautiful vibration that's full and can hold a lot more light and can hold it. And, you know, and the lighter you are without the traumas, like the easier it does get to manifest what you're wanting to create, right? Like things happen more magically, so to speak. You're able to wield your reality into existence. Synchronicities happen all the time. Like it's normal. You know, it's like you really start to like drop into that space of like the magic. Right? And like I said, if you're not feeling the magic in your life, it's just because there's just stuff coming up, right? And like I said, it'll come in waves. And when we learn to ride the waves, then we get to a place where most of the time it's pretty damn good because we've done a lot of healing work, and at different timeline points and timeline convergences between yourself, you know, your childhood, your partners, the people around you in your life, what you're dealing with, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's so many factors to that. But it does get to a place where it's actually quite magical most of the time, right? And then when this stuff surfaces, you're able to shift it pretty quickly and come back to this because this becomes the standard vibration, right? So this is where also, like when we look at, you've probably heard people talk about as well, like, you know, when we repeat patterns, we're actually not repeating, we're actually spiraling up. We're spiraling up the thing, right? So it's like, this is, you know, where the core wounding happened when you're a child, and you'll do all the healing work and you're raising a vibration and, you know, you've shifted all this out, and it's, you know, you're like, oh. And then as we spiral back around, like a similar situation comes along and we're like, we might go into it and we're like, fuck, why did I do that again? And then we heal and we come up to a high place and we're like, ooh, no, I know what that's like. I'm not doing that again. No, and we don't go into it as much. And so we shift to another vibration. You know, it's a similar thing, but we're choosing not to go into it, and we don't get sucked into it, and we have a lot more empowerment, confidence in our choices, boundaries, all that sort of thing, because we've cleared a lot of the bricks out, right? And this becomes more of a stronger, more stable frequency that we actually enjoy, because when we feel light and magic in the start, a lot of people are scared of that level of power, right? Because whatever happened in your past life or whatever. Okay, or shining your light bright as a kid and you were shut down. Like, you know, these tiny little comments that adults can say to you can have such a great detrimental effect, right? Okay, so that's that little section of training. Now coming to this third and final piece, which is really the, I guess, the epitome of the brain training that I was talking about. Like, you must be working with your mindset, you know, the affirmations, the journaling, like, you know, like constantly, like, you know, as I said at the start of this training, like as a wildly wealthy witch, it is a frequency that we hold. It's a lifestyle that we live. It's a certain way we think. It's the way we hold ourselves, right? Like, this is a huge part of it, and it does begin with the mind. Now, a lot of people also listen to affirmations and they're like, they work for a bit, but do they really? And I want to say, like, it's a constant work. Because if you're not feeding your mind, who is? Because if you're not creating your reality, who is? Now, you should already be in the habit of a minimum 10 minutes a day, whether it's start or end of your day or somewhere in between, as long as you get it done. You must be in the habit of creating your reality via journaling or visualizing. Like, you know, like visualizing works, don't get me wrong, but the actual like power in putting pen to paper surpasses everything, okay? And like I said, if you're not a writer, train yourself to be a writer, okay? Even 10 minutes copying affirmations. I am healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm like whatever you want to write, right? There's a million affirmations you can find everywhere and anywhere. And in my Intuitive Business Starter, I've got like pretty much majority of my affirmations. This is my journal folder of my affirmations from all the courses and everything I've created and collected over the years, my journal love. So that every morning I pull this out and I open it up randomly and I start copying, and then I start getting into my own flow. Minimum 10 minutes. It doesn't have to take that long. I'm sure you sit there and scroll for 10 minutes and you start your day, whatever. Like, change your mind. Who's feeding your mind? Social media or you? What are you creating, right? So the thing is, like, get into the habit, right? If you really want to be successful, if you really want to be wildly wealthy, if you're not feeding your mind, social media or other people are. That's just plain and simple reality, okay? So the thing is that when we're talking in different affirmations, there's sort of like 3 phases, and they're really powerful lessons that I've learned over the years with affirmations, with journaling, and it's really changed my life, especially in the last 7 years. So, you know, like I've just written some here, and what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to create this like free PDF for you guys from the notes from this training, because these affirmations and the really important pieces of these affirmations, I've written it down in my notes before I before I did this training. And like I said, depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching the replay, it might already be there, but it'll be a free PDF download just so you can have this. You can print it out or just write it in your journal or whatever, because these pieces are so crucial, okay, to, I want to say, unlocking the, you know, the new fresh energy that you're putting in, or whether you're hitting up a trauma that's keeping it blocked, right, in your mind. So the thing is that, like, you know, we know, I've just written some examples here, like, I'm in total alignment with my life purpose. I'm rich. I'm successful. I'm financially abundant and free. I am in a loving relationship. Now, if that's not your reality, you can be writing them, but deep down, there's this little part going, well, that's not fucking true. That's not true. This is like shadow work at its depth, right? Definitely. There's a little part going, you're like, yeah, positive. This is what I am successful. I am rich. And this little part's going, you're not rich. And so it's automatic, like this conflict inside of you energetically. How the fuck's that going to manifest reality? It doesn't. And that's why people get stuck, right? Because there's this internal battle going on. So, okay. I'm just checking my notes here. And so it's like being aware of these little chatbacks, these shadow chatbacks, let's call them. I'm just going to write that here. Shadow chatbacks are really important. So number one, doing a shadow meditation on the chatback can be really, really powerful to actually have a conversation. So my free shadow meditation that's in the Clear and Activate pack, you can use the shadow meditation to literally go in and speak to the part who's like, you're not rich. You're not successful. You're not free. What are you talking about? You're not in a loving relationship. You're in a toxic relationship. Like, you can go into the shadow meditation and speak to this part, and I highly recommend it. The wisdom that will come out of it will blow your mind. Okay? So number one, you can do a shadow meditation. Number two, the awareness of it is really important as well. So it's number two. And then the other thing is also the slight change in words when we are working on journaling, manifesting, and creating our reality. Like, this is really, really important. This was a fucking game changer for me, okay? I want you to feel the difference with what I'm about to say, and I want you to feel what's disempowering in the chat back and what's really empowering, and what's more open and what's more contracting. So I am in total alignment with my life purpose. I am rich. I am successful. I am financially free and abundant. I am in a loving relationship. Again, if that's not your reality, right? It's like we say it, but then it's like, listen afterwards. I'm in total alignment with my life purpose. I'm rich. I'm successful. I'm financially abundant and free. I'm in a loving relationship. Listen. Feel your body when you say that. Is there any of that? This slight change in words. Ready? I am now choosing to believe that it's possible for me to be financially free. I'm now choosing to believe that it's possible for me to be in a loving relationship. I am now choosing to believe that I am successful. I am now choosing to believe that I am financially abundant and free. I am now choosing to believe that I am rich and I am in total alignment with my purpose and I am loving and all the magic things are happening. I am now choosing this for my life. Number one, nervous system goes, oh, yeah. Why? Because you're now choosing it. It's not something that you're pretending and trying to like slap positivity over the negativity, right? You're now choosing to believe that this is possible for you. The back chatter can't negate that. The back chatter, the subconscious unreality truth of the situation can't fight that, because you're now making a decision that you're going to choose that it's possible for you somehow. Somehow you're going to make a decision, like you've chosen that somehow it's possible for me. I now choose to believe that this is possible. Whereas the other parts are like, you don't really think that's possible. That's not truth. But if I'm now choosing to believe that it is, this is a now present tense. Sure, in the past, all your past will give you all the evidence that you need that it's not the truth, right? We know that. But if right now in this moment I'm creating and choosing a different life, I now choose to believe that this is possible. I now choose to believe that I am successful. I now choose to believe that I am healthy. I now choose to believe that I'm in a beautiful, deeply loving, caring soulmate relationship. Like, yeah, because I'm now choosing that. It's a bit like, I am this. I am successful. I am rich. It's still like, But if like, I'm now choosing to believe that I am successful. I'm now choosing this. In the past, I didn't choose it. But now I am choosing it. So I'm now choosing to believe that I am successful. It's a total different energy. And it's creating the future based on a now moment rather than your past history dragging into it. I now choose to believe, right? And then once you work through over a period of time that I now choose to believe this, I now choose to believe that, I now choose to believe, like I have many riffs in here, which you can find in my Intuitive Business Starter. It's $97. There's so many affirmations in there. The training videos are off the hook. Comment intuitive below if you want the Intuitive Business Starter, because all of these like are in there, right? I've got thousands of them probably. Maybe not thousands. Is it thousands of words? Probably thousands of words. I now choose to believe. And for quite a long time, like several years, I was like, I now choose to believe, I now choose to believe, I now choose to believe, I now choose to believe. Now, after quite some time, something shifted in me. And then it came to me, it was like, I now am successful. I now am rich. I now am in a loving relationship. Because from the past of it not being true to now choosing it for a long time, there was a shift in me that the next step is now I can embody this because I've chosen it for a long time. I've done a lot of the clearing work. There's a lot of this constant in my life, more so than what there ever has been, because I've done a lot of healing work and released myself from toxic situations that would pull me down, and magic is what I experience most of the time. And yeah, well, I am now rich. I am now successful. have a thriving business. I have clients messaging me to book in and ask for the link, and they pay in full most of the time. I'm choosing to be financially abundant and free. Like, I am that now, because I've chosen it for so long, because I did the work to change my life, to release myself from toxic shit that was fucking dragging me down. And the whole time I kept my mindset right, my energy right, and I chose this because it is a choice. It is a lifestyle. It is a choice. And the more you clear out those traumas, the more you gain the strength, the more you gain the tools, the more you're around other people doing the same. This becomes your norm, and you do reach a place where you don't even entertain that shit. You just won't, right? You've like spiraled up so high that you're here and you're like, no way, right? And you just continue to go because this is the best feeling in the fucking world, why you've done it all in the whole first place, why you did it in the first place, right? And it's like, you've chosen this because you've done the healing work. You've healed your abandonment wounds. You've healed the rejection from your family. You healed all the stuff that has held you back for a long time, and the trauma and the pain and the hurt and the heartbreak, and they left me, and fuck knows where that began in childhood, and the parent rejection. And, like when we go through that dark healing phase, it's because you've chosen this, because you know that your soul is leading you to this, and one day you will pop out because you've chosen it. You've chosen it. I'm now choosing to believe. I'm now choosing this for my life. I'm now choosing this. I'm willing to change. I'm willing to open to the possibilities that can be my reality. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to feel safe in my power. I'm willing to only have people around me who are also in their power and doing amazing things in the world. That's a choice. That is a choice. I choose to not have people around me who fucking bring me down. That's a choice. That's a power move. But it's a choice. You can say all the I am affirmations in the world, but if you're choosing to still hang around that, are you really choosing it? Are you really choosing it? Are you really choosing the life of magic? Are you really ready for this? Are you really choosing this? Fly, soar, be the eagle and follow your heart. Chase your dreams because this is what you were born for. This is what you are born for. The magic is possible, but do you choose it? So I'm going to get this PDF for you guys together. Like I said, depending on where you're watching it, it might be somewhere in the comments below. It'll be a Dropbox link. You'll be able to download it, print it out, keep it somewhere, and you can rewatch this training over and over again to remind you that you are magic, and anything that doesn't feel like magic is just this next level surfacing, and you're going to keep up with your mindset, your affirmations. And if you want the Intuitive Business Starter, like I said, it's $97. There's all of these in there from my own creations, and there's training videos, like next level training videos from these free ones in there as well that go into depth, and all the affirmations, and just, you know, like I recommend just like going over all the affirmations just like exactly what I've written, because you're going to start training your own brain, and then after a while you'll start to think your own things, and then you can do your own things and get into the habit on a daily basis. Because if you're not feeding your mind and your energy, somebody else is, and you have the power to be wildly wealthy, but you have to choose it. You have to choose it. Let me know if you've got any questions or how this has helped you, and I'll see you guys very soon.